All right, friends, I am so excited today to be joined by my boys Aaman and Nate from the Big Innings podcast, as well as Cricket Across America show on Major League Cricket TV. Guys, thank you so much for taking the time.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks.
We've never been thanked before by anyone.
Well,
we don't
we're
know
of
how to
one-
handle it. All
We're
right.
of one mind.
So what we were saying is 2024 was such a sick, awesome, incredible year for USA cricket, especially on the men's side. We'll have a separate conversation about the women, right? But the men's side, there were so many amazing performances, World Cup and beyond. So we said, let's celebrate them by coming up with a list of, what the best ones were. And so I called my boys and they were down, right?
Heck
Yeah, this is all. We were actually talking about doing this anyway. So then to have someone who's invested in it just as much as we are made it easier to go through all the performances because wow, were there Americans everywhere in all parts of the globe this year.
Yeah,
my
it was just hey, Aaman, Z's already done all the work. Let's just jump in on this.
yeah. It's a lot of work, but loves labor because there's so many good players, so many good performances. So let's jump right into it. We have 64, the top 64. Why the number 64? I don't know. It is, the cube of 4, but 64 top performances by American domestic players anywhere in the world in 2024. Sound good?
Let's do it.
We're just going to count them down. So I'm going to start with number 64, my boy Chandrapal Hemraj for the Somerset Cavaliers against the New England Eagles in the minor league cricket season on September 21st. He had a century, 108 off 63 balls in the Mercer County field, which is like one of the hardest fields to bat on. That was an impressive knock by our boy Chandrapal.
He's good for a big one every year, it seems like. He's good for a big score every single season. This was a lot of fun to watch, this particular one. He just couldn't go wrong.
Yep.
And it just showed you how much it's growing up there in the Northeast in terms of the wickets. He just trusted the bounce, and when he gets his eyes on the ball, it's going to go miles. There's no way around it.
Moving on to number 63, we've got Stephen Taylor in the GSL final versus Victoria. 68 runs for Rangpur. Boy, Stephen Taylor really came alive here in the last few months of the year.
Yeah, he did. I mean, it really came after losing his spot on the national team. I think he had a point to prove to everybody. He said, "I'm only 30 years old. I'm at the peak of my career. Don't think about me in terms of being done with my career." And he's showing everybody why. All right, well, let's move on to number 62, Calvin Savage in Major League. Our first mention in Major League for the Texas Super Kings against the Seattle Orcas. 45 not out, 2 for 23, and I mean doing what he does best at the bottom of the order.
Yeah, Calvin, we know what he can do with the ball and the bat. He's also been a star in John Boy's Ball and Play League, which, I love to talk about. But yeah, Calvin, one of the best guys out there. Happy to see him on this list.
Love Calvin. So moving along, number 61, we have our boy Obos Pinar against Fort Lauderdale for the Baltimore Royals. He had an 88 not out off 56. And this was on September 7th. It was one of the first gigantic knocks of the minor league season, which we were all psyched to see. And what a great guy.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about this was that was a tough Church Street wicket to bat on at that point in time. The ball was starting to turn around. The dude had just allowed the ball to skid, and he was just in for the challenge and never gave the Lions a sniff. I mean, he came in to open the batting, something he doesn't do, and made it look effortless.
Yep, here we go. Team USA for number 60, Abhishek Paradkar against UAE. 3 wickets, 24 runs in 4 overs. There was a lot of talk about who should be included in this team and his role, and he came through with the ball in this game and really shone for USA. From the left side, we love those left arm bowlers.
And this was his, he had played, I think, on the national team on ODIs before, but this was his T20 international debut, and he really came through, and we're so psyched for him.
Yeah, and staying with the trend of left arm seamers, let's move to number 59. Ian Desai, he made his major league debut against Texas. No bigger opening stand to break, and he goes and gets Devin Conway on his very first over. That's dream stuff, and he also picked up the wicket of Marcus Stoinis in there as well. I mean, what a dream for the young man.
And we see him a lot in minor leagues, shining and earning his stripes, earning a chance to play in Major League Cricket. And what a phenomenal star he is.
Friends, if you like what we're doing here, make sure to hit that like button because it's going to help us bring you more content just like this. All right, so 58, we have from the USA National Tournament, right? Achilles Brown century, which, when 1709 did a feature on that, like the title was A Star is Born, because he had 103 not out off 106. It was a losing effort for his team, but he kept them alive, and the poise and the strength and the mental strength that he showed at such a young age. And everyone was like, who is this kid? Right? Like, it's his first big statement on the scene. Like, we were so happy for him.
Yeah, I mean, this is a kid who's played everywhere, whether it's in Barbados, he's net bowler for the World Cup, he's been in England, and he's a real chameleon. Can go keep wicket, can come and bowl some pace, and then with the bat, can bat all over the order. He's going to be in this USA setup sooner rather than later.
And you saw what that century meant to him. You saw his enthusiasm. And another guy who brings a lot of enthusiasm is our next for Team USA A team. We've been crying for an A team squad, and we got one in Aaron Nancarney, who played for USA U19. He really stood up. He took 4 wickets against Nepal in that game. Unbelievable stuff from an 18-year-old.
He was number 57 on our list. What was, to me, awesome about that one was, like, this was against the full Nepal. It was the A team playing the full Nepal senior team, who had just, like, defeated our senior team a couple of times. And here comes 18-year-old Aaron and takes 4 wickets, 4 for 14. Like, it was a 2.8 economy. Like, what a statement of arrival.
And that's just what the young kids do, right? They're audacious in that sense. And Utkarsh Srivastava against maybe the best associate country in cricket at the moment, at least in ODI cricket, Scotland, in his debut game, and where we couldn't do anything against that ODI side in Scotland, in Texas, scores 67 off of 63 and kept USA in that game. We were in it for a long period of time. I was there with Andrew Leonard. Not shocked at all because he's done it ever since he was a little kid. But I mean, to do that on the grandest stage is unbelievable for a 17-year-old.
I mean, when you're my age, he's still a little kid. But yeah, man. I mean, what a star. We're so excited about the future of the game. So moving on, 55, Shubham Ranjane, right? He had what I believe was, correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the only 5-wicket haul in minor league this year. The only 5 for. Do I have that right? Was there another one?
You
I
might be
feel
right.
like there
In
was
the
one more.
Pacific, I think he might be right in the Pacific.
I could be right. Yeah, in the Pacific, and it was a magnificent spell, right? And the thing with Shubham is, he was a batsman before he was a bowler, and he's been working so hard on his bowling, and for him to deliver it, right, 5 for 25 runs, it was magnificent to watch.
Yeah, he's quite a star. He's a star in Major League as well. One of the best domestic all-round players in the league. And that takes us to Sujith Gowda, number 54. Yes, who returned to his old team at East Bay, and it was a return to form for Sujith, scoring 94 off of 58 balls versus the rival Thunderbolts. What a star he is. He also did a lot with the ball. We were talking about Shubham Ranjani being a great all-rounder. Well, Sujith Gowda is a rising star in that regard too. But he's always been very consistent, one of the top scorers in league history, and he does it at a high clip, and he certainly did on that day against Seattle.
Yeah, and he'll definitely be back in Major League. It seems like he's right upon the draft boards and one of the top domestic bats that'll be available come 2025. But speaking of one of the top players in the USA, Carmine LaRue, number 53. I mean, what he does from the left side with the new ball is unbelievable. Against the Orcas this year in Major League Cricket, 2 for 14, got both the openers for Ducks in the first over, and that included Ryan Riggleton. That's not easy to do, and Carmine's got so much skill. It would behoove me to not see him in the red, white, and blue sooner rather than later.
Carmi, on top of being an amazing cricketer, has got great social media game. So we have
Yeah.
to especially shout him out, right? Number 52, our boy Shayan Jahangir. This is our first USPL mention in that tournament. He had an undefeated century, 109, undefeated off 45 for the Mavericks. It was a full on. It was a strike rate of over 240. Beautiful knock. Beautiful knock.
Yeah, it's great to see him in good form. He's been, in 2023, he was incredible for Team USA. Let's get him back into that kind of form, and it looks like he's headed in that direction. And next up, number 51, Aisha Nadil. Speaking of the USPL, Maryland Mavericks versus Atlanta Black Caps. Took a 5 for just 23 runs in 4 overs at an economy of 5.75. Man, we love this guy. He's just so good. His height brings so much. He bowls a great length, and he moves the ball both ways. I love watching him bowl.
He's phenomenal and great with the ball in hand, but he's talk about being someone who just brings it at every level of the game. Shadowvan Skulkvik at number 50 was going to be an underrated performance, or maybe one that gets forgotten a little bit because of the result, where we laid a duck against Scotland, really, but it could have been well worse. It should have been 53 all out, but he came in at number 8. He rescued the inning, scores 58 runs of his own, his first and only ODI half century, and that got him promoted to number 3 in the next game. So I think we'll see more Shadowvan Skulkvik. It was the highest night with ninth wicket partnership as well in USA colors.
I did an interview with Shadley, and we've been putting out some of the content on 1709. And what keeps coming out, right, segment after segment, is that he is so tough. And his whole life, he's been looking for challenges, and he knows how to grind. And that's what this innings was. Like, we were done, not only done, but embarrassed. Then he came in, he saved the innings, right? Got it to a respectable total and saved our pride as well. We love Shad. How much do we love Shadley?
Oh, we love him. He always plays to the occasion too. He's great with the young players. I've seen him lift people up when they're down. He's just a phenomenal cricketer.
Friends, if you like what you're hearing, make sure to subscribe to our channel to get more content like this. And if you strongly agree or disagree with anything we're saying, drop a comment below. We'd love to hear from you. So moving up to 49, speaking of phenomenal cricketers, Harmeet Singh. This is his first appearance on this list, and there will be, spoiler alert, there will be others, right? Against Canada, right, back in April, right? He had a 4-wicket haul. He had 4 for 18, economy of 4.5 in critical matches leading up to the World Cup. So Harmeet is such a dependable performer, especially internationally, and this was the first one on our list.
Well, number 48, I'm happy to announce this one. Aaron Jones, 102 runs from 57 balls in the USA Nationals in the 50 overs. Man, how good has he been? We've known that 50 overs is his best format typically, but he performed great all summer in T20. But here he was returning to the 50 overs. The 50 over format, which we don't get a lot of here in the USA compared to the T20. And man, he just showed off the entire national championship tournament. He was incredible for the South as well. And Aaman and I have a soft spot for the South.
And it was important for him to do that. He was coming off an ODI series where he was dropped initially, then comes back into the side, doesn't have a score of note, but he showed his class. And this is the stronger of his two formats. And I'm excited to see him hopefully continue to be on that ODI side. And I think he's done himself a lot of favors with that performance. Speaking of unbelievable performances, we'll move to 47. Hamad Azam in the final of the minor league against East Bay. All three of us were there. He scores 53 off 23, a match-winning innings there. But then with the ball as well, 4 overs, takes 2 wickets, just gives up the 38 runs. But he took Sanjay Krishnamurthy's wicket, which would have been the biggest wicket of the tournament, of that match. And he just proves time and time again he's a big-time performer.
How much fun was it to watch that in person down in Dallas at that beautiful venue, guys? We had such a great time hanging out together there, calling that game. What a good time! And Hamad Azam just seems to win every championship that he's a part of. He won even in Ball and Play League for John Boy. I'm going to give it another mention there. But yeah, Hamad, what an incredible champion he is.
That moves us up to number 46. So excited about this one. My boy, Gajanan Singh, everyone's boy, Gajanan Singh, right? This was early in minor league. It was September 1st. I was at this match in Mercer Park, and he turned in what I think was the best all-around performance in minor league this season, right? He was 57 off 27, and then while bowling, he took a hat trick, right? Gaj is just so talented on both sides. Like, what else can we say about him? We love that he's on this list here.
He's easy to cheer for. He's a great guy. And he did the hat trick with his hat on the whole time, which is a true hat trick, I have to say.
So, that's Nate's favorite part of the whole story. Gudge never has to score another run or take another wicket. The fact he got a hat trick with the hat, Nate's going to love him forever.
For sure. All right. I guess that brings me up next. I'm sitting here thinking, who's next? Oh, it's me. Jesse Singh at number 45 for Team USA against UAE. Took 4 wickets at 18 runs. Now, Jesse, man, he seems to have big games. And this was definitely one of them. You know, we saw him. I think he got better and better as the summer went on. He's one of these players who is benefiting from more and more chances. And we love to watch him shine. He's just such an institution almost of American cricket.
Yeah, as soon as you start to count him out, he just finds a way to make you think, you know what, Jesse Singh, he's got he's got the goods. And speaking of having the goods, man, we've already mentioned at 44, it's Sujit Gowda, who came into minor league in the playoff stages as one of the leading run scorers of the tournament. And against the Raptors, it's so important to start off strong in a Super 8 phase. He comes in 77 off 54, never gave the Raptors a sniff, much to Nate and I's dismay. But it was a clutch first knock of the playoffs, and it carried the momentum for the East Bay to get to the finals.
And he's just an incredible guy. We've talked a lot about him, but yeah, just look at his overall stats in minor league. Look at his career stats. He's going to get himself on a major league team, that's for sure.
All right, number 43, we have our boy. There's a lot of our boys on this list. but our boy Saiteja Mukamala, yeah, man, what can we say about this guy? He just exploded onto the national scene this year. Another boy from the East who played on that Mercer County brutal turf, and you take these guys out of the East, and then they blow up, because that's how hard that wicket is to bat on. Against the UAE, September 24th, right? He had an ODI century, 107 off 99. And that was part of a massive partnership with Milind Kumar, which we'll talk about later. But he proved he could do it on his own. He can do it in a partnership. Like, the sky is the limit for Sai.
I think this is the time where we have to mention that Aaman has actually taken his wicket once. So we have to squeeze that in somehow.
Yeah, always. Anytime he scores, I find a way to mention it to him. All right, I have his wicket. We've played one match in an official setting, and I have the wicket in that match. So Sai, don't make me come out of retirement to get out. No, I'm joking. But the kid's unreal, and he's gonna go a long way. It's just the beginning for him.
Yeah, before too long, Canada's going to be recruiting you to move there for 3 years so that they have an antidote for him. But speaking of these young, fantastic cricketers, number 42, Sanjay Krishnamurthy, and now that he's going to be on this list a few times. This was the summer of Sanjay, but he scored against Hampshire in the GSL for Victoria, 77 runs. Now, they made it all the way to the final. He made it to the final 3 times in 3 different big leagues this year. Just didn't quite get over the line, but my gosh, it wasn't because of him. He was incredible all summer long.
And speaking of being incredible, Sanjay is, and we're gonna move briskly on because we're gonna talk about him so many times it almost feels unfair. But we'll move on to 41, Mukhtar Ahmed, who in Major League wouldn't have had the role that he wanted, but in the USPL he made sure that people know how good of a player he is because he can turn it on in a blink of an eye. 123 not out off 59, a strike rate of 208. That's the highest score of the tournament, and it's not easy in the USPL. You got some of the best players in all the country and a tough Broward County wicket, and he just made it look effortless.
Yeah, he's so good. He's such a class player. He's incredible. He's a great guy too.
Friends, thanks so much for listening to me, Nate, and Aaman talk about the top performances of USA men in 2024. Number 64 to number 41 were incredible. Join us in the next episode where we continue the countdown, number 21 to 40. Some awesome performances in there. So let's see you there.